one thing, Dave, that we talked about, or you brought up before, is how much John Schneider values those late-round picks. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. He places a lot of value. And when they acquired Sam Howell, they sent a 3rd and a 5th to the Washington Commanders for Sam Howell and a 4th and a 6th. So they gave up some draft capital to get him. And that represents a level of belief. We've talked about that. Now, was their belief shaken at all by that one appearance this year? It's hard to say. I know fans it did. Fans didn't feel great after that, but you bring it up all the time. We're not at practice. We don't get to watch practice. We don't see what they're seeing, so maybe they have a different level of belief, and they thought, all right, that's a tough set of circumstances there, what have you. I don't know. I don't know if they feel like Sam's the obvious successor based on, what they gave up to get him, or if they feel like, no, we need to spend what it's going to take to bring in Sam Darnold. He's younger than Geno. We believe he's fixed. Maybe it is Justin Fields, or maybe it is a stopgap of sort. Hey, we'll kick the tires on Justin Fields for a year, and if he's not the guy, we're going to draft somebody this year we think we can develop. There's so many possibilities to this, but just what they gave up to get Sam Howell, to me, represents us. At least at that point, they had a certain level of belief in him.
Right, and it's also the most practical thing. But the other thing is when they traded for him, it's not like in what they have now. It's not like he was some big mystery that they only saw on film or whatever. They were probably looking at him, and maybe if you ask John Schneider, and I don't know that he would tell us this, but that might be a guy that they were really interested in, and they think that he can go and do it. And look, I'm just exploring every possibility. That's really the only hard proof that we have that, or I should say, as far as a replacement for Geno, he's practical because he's there. Nobody else is there. Sam Darnold's not there. And I was trying to find some kind of a connection with Kubiak and him. But, you look at, I was just looking up the where the Seahawks were last year as far as the run game goes. And then, who excelled in the run game last year. The top 6 teams all went to the playoffs. And that's usually the case. Actually, if you look at number 9, the Buffalo Bills, so that makes 7 teams that were top 10 rushing that made the playoffs. And, the Baltimore Ravens were number 1. They ran for 187 yards, obviously, per game, obviously because of their quarterback, Lamar Jackson. But then the Eagles, you had Saquon Barkley in the combination with
Jalen Hurts.
with Jalen Hurts. So,
and then Derrick Henry is a hell of a running back. He had a hell of a year right behind, just on the heels of Saquon Barkley.
I should have mentioned him too. Yeah. But and Tampa Bay kind of sneaky in there, but they ran for 150 yards. So, if that's maybe the way the NFL is going, there's always trends go back and forth. And again, going back to their roots, how did John build a championship team? It's with, they tried at offensive line. Again, they had a running back in Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson at quarterback that mitigated a lot of the things that the deficiencies of the offensive line. So, but that's what they know. And, that's where they're going, I think, with, building a really good defense. They're already on their way to doing that. And then, and then you can get the run game going with Kubiak. It sounded like, he's going to have some plays that are more offensive line friendly. Meanwhile, you're building up your offensive line, whether it's through free agency, the draft. We heard, from Daniel Jeremiah, he said inside defensive tackles, whatever, you don't really need to go on the open market for that. Yeah. That's because they're so plentiful in the, in the draft. And, we've seen, who's that kid, Kenneth Grant? The kid from Michigan that keeps showing up that
in the mock drafts.
Mock drafts, that's an inside, defensive tackle. So, maybe that's the route that they're going. That's what John Schneider knows best.
Some of the text coming in, this is from the 425. The reality is that no quarterback that they can reasonably acquire this offseason is going to be better than Geno would have been next year. At least not behind this offensive line, is what the 425 said. I don't disagree with that. I don't, and I'm not portraying myself as a Geno apologist or he's the greatest and nobody respects him. I've been accused of being a lover of Geno and a hater of Geno. I'm in the gray area. I've said that over and over, but I tend to agree with that. I don't know who the obvious guy is because I don't know that Sam Darnold comes in here and is better. He's a guy who's turned the ball over a lot in his career. He did it at USC. He's done it a lot in his career. He did have a great year up until it mattered most at the end of the year. We'll see. Maybe they acquire him and they believe this guy is fixed and he's younger. We've got more time with him. Maybe Justin Fields is a stopgap that they think, hey, he's a stopgap initially, but we develop him. He's got all the raw tools. He can run the daylights out of the ball. You brought up the mobility of Russell when he was here and how that covered up a lot of the warts of the O-line that they had along with Marshawn. So maybe they go that route. I don't know, but it's going to be fascinating to watch. And the other thing that you brought up, and we talked about this when they were hiring the offensive coordinator, is they had conversations with each guy saying, all right, here, how do you feel about the guy? We asked John about this. I asked him in one of our conversations, do you talk to these guys and say, hey, how do you feel about this player, that player? How do they fit? How do you and of course, he's basically like, yeah, we talked to him about all that. So, I'm certain they brought up the scenario. All right, well, what if this guy isn't there? What if DK's not there? What if Geno's not there? Then how do you see this?
And you're talking about conversations with all of the
candidates.
Yeah, and then also, once you get all of your guys together, it's the draft guys, it's your scouts, and then it's that whole offensive staff.
Yeah.
What can we how can we build what you want, what your dream of this offense is? So, and can we get by without this guy? So
yeah, they don't just make a move like this
Right.
willy-nilly, Dave.
Yeah.
There's some thought and some preparation put into a move like this. This isn't just, well, that didn't go the way we thought it would, so let's trade him and we'll figure it out.
I'll tell you what, man, I got to say, Mike McDonald has some stones, man. I mean, I just, the way that he moved during the middle of the season, I brought this up many times, but I still am just surprised by that because I feel like a lot of times that gets handled, okay, we'll wait till the end of the year and continue to assess. It's like, no, boom, by the bye week, we've got Ernest Jones in here and we're starting a rookie who was a fifth rounder.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and then as far as, and I don't know, maybe this means expect DK to get traded